going to admit folks. Good morning, everyone. My name is Yvonne Denome, and for those of you who are new to the CARES Act office hours, I am the Title I, and I have been deemed the CARES Act manager. So I am a member of a small team, the CARES Act grants team. So I'd like to make sure that the CARES Act grant team members also introduce themselves this morning. Sabrina, I see you just jumped on, so we'll start with Sabrina.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Spring has sprung. I'm Sabrina Boyd, as Yvonne said, Grants Compliance Officer in the Office of the Comptroller.
Thank you, Sabrina. Doris?
Good morning. Doris Manifield with the Financial Support Team. Good to be here.
Thank you, Doris. Jerome?
Yes, how you doing? Good morning. My name is Jerome McRae. I'm the new Grants Management Analyst. Just started this month. I'm happy to be here. Any grants management questions, I will try my best to answer.
Outstanding. And Maddie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Maddie Knar, and I am a budget analyst in the Office of Budget Services.
Excellent. Is there anyone else from the CARES Act grants team that I might have missed? All right. If not hearing any voices, I'm going to go ahead and get started this morning. I have 4 questions, and Doris, one of these is specifically going to be yours, and it's an update on the ESSA reconciliation report. So I'll give you a few moments. But the first question that I've gotten a lot of this week has been around Schoology and whether or not schools can utilize CARES Act funding for the required professional development. And unfortunately, the answer to that is no. Schoology is not COVID related, and therefore doesn't meet the VDOE approved requirements or guidelines within the grant. I do realize that with Schoology that there potentially could be a family engagement component, but Schoology was in the works way before COVID came upon us a year ago. So unfortunately, you cannot utilize CARES Act funding to pay teachers for professional development related to Schoology. The only professional development that can be utilized or be charged against CARES Act is for professional development related to communicating with families or intervention and intervention planning. Those are the only 2 exceptions. I want to thank, I have actually had a couple of you reach out to me this week and want an update on the reimbursement, and then you were so thoughtful to say, how can we support you? And so first of all, let me say thank you for that. That meant the world to me. And I actually do have a couple of folks behind the scenes, thank you Woodson High School, who graciously answer some additional questions for me and do some double checking behind the scenes for me. So I do appreciate that, Woodson High School. But I want to let everyone know that our team is working on the CARES FMR. Please know that there are almost 8,900 lines on that financial report. And Heidi and Ivy are working on all the POs and JEs. And what you guys don't know is that when we say there are almost 8,900 lines, when that FMR is exported out and we do a reimbursement to VDOE, we can't just export out that spreadsheet and upload it into the Omega system that we use for our state reimbursement. So there's a lot of behind the scenes. And one of the things that we are required to do in order to get reimbursed is we literally have to go in and add descriptions, detailed descriptions on every single line. And we have to verify every hourly charge against CARES Act. So, first of all, when you have procured items, we asked that you be very detailed with your comments to name the items being procured. So thank you for those details. That is definitely assisting with the lift that Heidi and Ivy do. Without those detailed descriptions, normally it takes us about 5 minutes to 15 minutes per line, especially when items have been moved from, been reclassed. We have to verify those items are allowable against CARES as well, right? So thank you for that. As far as the hourly side, I'm the one that's verifying all of the time. I literally have to check to make sure that we have all the documentation when we submit this reimbursement to VDOE. And so I want everyone to know, when I first started, what I was trying to do was to reconcile by school, and I quickly realized that that wasn't an option. So what I'm asking is I now have hourly reconciled. In other words, I have verified that the time that has been entered, we have documents for. And we do have schools whose folders remain empty or who do not have the required documents. And so I have it reconciled through the end of March or through the end of November. And so Sandy's team will be reaching out to those schools with either missing or incomplete documents. And when I talk about incomplete documents, what I mean is that your FS 174s are in the folders and have signatures. Some of the schools, we have your HR 11s, but we don't have your FS 174s. What I'm especially noticing is on the hourly technical side, not so much on the teacher side, but please know that for any employee who charges, be it a teacher, an office staff, a parent liaison, we must have that FS 174. Because our FMR goes through February, I am asking that everyone have all of their hourly documents through February 28th uploaded on to their CARE server by April 16th. Please know that we are under pressure to get this FMR reconciled and get this reimbursement submitted to the Virginia Department of Education. So please have all of your documentation uploaded by April 16th. I know spring break is next week, but if you can do that for me, absolutely amazing. Questions about either Schoology or the reimbursement process? Deborah, are you referring to February FMR posted time? Yes, I am. Thank you. You're absolutely right. So I know that not February worked hours, but February posted time. Actually, I'm going to be transparent. Any time that was paid in February, we should begin to have the documents for. But yes, I am asking for February FMR posted documents to be in by April the 16th. And for schools, again, schools with missing or incomplete documents, Sandy's team will be reaching out. I am sending her a list of schools today of schools that I need either FS 174s for or schools that their FS 174 doesn't match their my time. So if you get an email from Sandy's team, please know it's because I attempted to verify what is on the FMR on our reimbursement request, and that information is needed ASAP, especially if it's a November or a December document. Doris, this next question I'm going to turn over to you. Last time we shared in CARES Act office hours about the ESSER reconciliation reports. Do you happen to have an update, or even Sabrina, is there an update on when the schools may be provided the directions to start the ESSER reconciliation reports?
Thank you, Yvonne. No update as of this time, but I will check and find out where we are with that. If Sabrina has any update, please share. If I do get any update, I will share it with you. I don't know if you want to add it to your minutes, but we can go back and find out where we are with those. I know they were still working on them.
Okay. Sabrina, do you have any update on that?
It was discussed this week, but it has not been finalized.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for that. And then the last question that I've had from a couple of schools is, are schools expected to cover any deficits in their CARES account? And the answer to that is yes. If you have gone over in your hourly or your PPE, please please complete the journal entry process to move those charges from CARES Act to your general operating funds. And the same would be true if you had overtime charges that automatically hit against CARES. And so we have a number of schools on the FMR reconciliation who their overtime went into the overtime line. And so that needs to be moved from overtime to either hourly teacher or hourly technical. And Sandy's team will be reaching out to verify which schools will need to complete that so that we can reconcile the February FMR. All right, those are all of the updates that I have. Sandy, do you have any updates from the compliance side?
Oh, this is Sabrina. I do not have any updates.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said Sandy. Sandy, Sabrina, they sound alike.
No, my brain, I guess I need another cup of coffee. Sorry about that, Sabrina.
No worries. But no
Doris, how about from the finance side?
Thank you. No updates at this time. We are continuing to review transactions and help schools with their CARES Act transactions. So if we are being reached out to, at least I can speak for myself individually, we are still continuing to work with folks and check our folders. And if there is any missing information, we are continuing to follow up and reach out to the schools.
Doris, when you're reviewing folders, please make sure that if you see a school that isn't using, they're not putting in their files by month, right?
Yes.
So I've run across a couple schools that have combined 5 months of documents into one file, and having to go in and extract documents is extremely time consuming, and given the volume of work that we have to do, I have sent Sandy requests for 2 schools to say, we've asked schools to name the documents by month, right? So as you see, if you could be proactive on that, that would be extremely helpful for the reconciliation piece of that.
Sure, I'll share that with the team. We've experienced that when we were checking them early on, so I understand exactly what you're saying. So sure, no problem.
Yeah, I have one document that is over 60 pages that has 4 or 5 months of documents in it. And to be able to go through that one document to pull out documents that I need from October, I need schools' help in making sure that those documents are broken out and saved by month as we requested.
We'll make sure that we help with that, Yvonne.
Thanks. I actually did some separation, but the time that it is taking to do that, when the expectation is we need to get this reimbursement done and submitted, it's a lot. And we've got an April 30th. We're working with an April 30th to get this reimbursement into VDOE. And so when we have to have descriptions for every single line item, and we have to verify almost $700,000 in hourly charges, time is not exactly something that we have right now, right? And I know Heidi is on this call, and I'm just going to say publicly, Heidi and Ivy, you're doing an amazing job. So keep that up. Jerome, any updates from your side?
No, not right now. We don't have any updates on the grants management side.
Okay, great, Jerome. Thank you. Did I miss anyone from the CARES Act grants team? All right. If not, what I'm going to do is turn it over to you guys. What questions might you have for us? Lisa?
Hi, good morning, Yvonne.
Good morning, Lisa.
So my question is about having the required documentation from our principal approving the teachers doing their remediation and stuff. So is it possible that we could get an example or a sample of what that might look like?
So yes, I can. So I'm hearing you say you would like an example of a memo
Right.
for principals to provide for, is it for the asynchronous Mondays?
Correct.
Okay, all right. I will develop that, Lisa, and
Okay.
I will put that into the CARES office hours Q&A.
Okay.
And then I will have that in there by close of business today.
Okay.
So that schools can utilize that language. The main thing we're looking for is that the principal has identified the teachers and is approving the intervention planning time.
Okay. That would be really helpful because we want to do it the right way. And
Of course.
so instead of us trying to, come up with something, it really would be beneficial. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And I'll just say that there are some great exemplars that are in the schools folder. So probably what I'm going to do is cheat and borrow language from another school.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Absolutely. And I just want to say that because we provide you an example doesn't mean that you can't tweak the language, right?
Okay.
Because we know that the language from one school to another may be slightly different. So it will truly be an example only,
Gotcha.
not the end all be all, right?
Right. Not
Okay.
like a formatted type thing, just an example of what it should look like. That's all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll be happy to provide that in, I'll link to it in the CARES Act office hours. So if you can check back by close of business today.
Okay, great. Thank you.
My pleasure. Other questions you may have?
I have a question, Yvonne. This is Lisa Gibson.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Good. So we had some parent return to school nights that our teachers presented to the parents. We're able to pay them with the CARES money, correct?
Absolutely. That is allowable under CARES. And your description of the work would be CARES Act, family communication, or engagement.
Okay, and so I would need to do an HR 11 and the FS 174 for every teacher that presented.
So I hear you using past tense language. And so if the time was not entered into my time, then correction memos would need to be utilized.
They were actually all this month. They were like at the beginning of March. So we just wanted to do it, but I just wanted to make sure that I did those forms, or I wanted to make sure that that was all that I needed.
Yes, the HR 11 and the FS 174 is exactly what's needed for that.
Okay, and then I just upload all of them into my CARES folder once I'm done.
Yes.
Okay.
Using the month that it posts, right?
Correct.
So I suspect most likely it will post in March.
Okay, so it'll post March. I think I saved them all
Or
as
April. It'll post April.
Okay, I saved them all as April, their name, CARES Act, and then I think I even said worked March, so I would know for my own sanity too.
Yes, yes. So that will post April, and so it'll be April _, and it can be as simple as April _ FS 174s, right?
Okay.
I'm learning that there, as I go back in and add attachments, different schools are doing it different ways. Honestly, I am really looking for those FS 174. So if you want to help me in your naming conventions, with the month in FS 174, that's fantastic.
Okay. And okay, so because I saved each one individually for like each teacher, do you want it that way, or would you prefer them to be one big document?
So I'm going to be completely transparent. It is easiest for me if you save them by teacher, but I'm not asking everyone to do that because we had said that everyone can put them together. So I know that, Lisa, that you're one of the schools that are saving the forms by teacher. Whatever process works for you,
Okay.
I'm just continue to do.
Okay.
If you want to put them by teacher, continue to do that. If you put them all together, that's fine as well. Depending upon the number of forms, I may have to unpack them and extract to do my upload into Focus, but do what's best for you.
Okay. Yeah, I had already saved all of them as individual by teacher, and it's like 40 of them for this month. So I can send them to you whichever way is easiest because I can always rescan them.
Since you already have it done, leave it as is.
Okay.
That actually helps me, believe it or not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Mhm.
Lisa Drummond, did you have another question?
No, I need to unraise myself.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Deborah, do you want the HR 11s with the FS 174s or separate? Deborah, it's really helpful if the HR 11s are with the FS 174s. We've got schools doing it in different ways. Keep in mind that you can have a broad HR 11, right? So if you have, to use Lisa's scenario, if you have 40 teachers doing a family engagement event, what she may choose to do is have the HR 11 on the front and it says various teachers, and then all of her FS 174s attached, right? So you are able to do that as well. Does that help? What is more important is that the FS 174 actually documents the time worked against what is on the FMR. Other questions? Oh, thank you, Courtney, for posting the notes or the link to the office hours. That is appreciated. Cindy asked, do we need to include the FMR page that shows the time worked? Cindy, that is really helpful for documentation. And I believe that when the ESSER reconciliation reports are released, Sabrina, it's my understanding that that report will take the place of the required FMR. Is my understanding correct on that?
Yes, that's correct. But that's the one I was.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I'm
off of mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe there was a delay. So yes, that's the report we met on earlier this week, but it has not been finalized. But the intention is that that reconciliation report will replace that. So in the meantime, current processes should remain.
Okay. So Cindy, until the ESSA reconciliation report is released, please continue to include the FMRs. It's actually, go ahead, Cindy.
I signed on late. Did you say when you think the report will be available?
I don't have an estimate on that, when it will be available.
I also had a follow-up question. I was talking to Sue and I was going to get clarification from her, but then I got busy and now we're on here. So I'm going to be doing a journal entry for just overtime. No hours worked, like all the hours posted correctly to the CARES account. It's just that the employees were non-exempt, so they were eligible for overtime. And she was saying that we are still moving FICA for strictly overtime, correct? And it's not a different amount, it's the same amount? Okay, so like one of them is like $50, so I'll do the 7.65 for the $50 and still move the FICA.
Yes, so Doris, can you back me up on this? But it's my understanding that when you are moving overtime into hourly, that the corresponding FICA must also be moved.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. He is so precious, Cindy. Courtney, I know this has been answered, but a couple of schools have reached out. Can the schools pay teachers for planning on asynchronous Mondays? Okay, so the answer to that is yes, they can pay teachers for planning on asynchronous Mondays. However, on the FS 174, for asynchronous Mondays, they must document that time is out of contract, right? So basically on an asynchronous Monday, they would have their 7.5 hours. And then if they're doing 2 hours of intervention, it would be 7.5 hours of contract time, 2 hours of intervention time. The only reason they would be paid for their planning on asynchronous Mondays is if they were asked to do